Deep in the heart of the savannah, Kenya's Masai Mara Game Reserve is a vast plain where a powerful lion pack once ruled. But years of poaching and disease have left the land ravaged, and now only one young lioness, Amira, is the last hope for the pack to regain its former glory. Her name, meaning princess in Swahili, perfectly captures her grace, intelligence, and unrivaled resilience. Despite her loneliness, Amira has learned to survive by hunting at dusk and avoiding the dangers of the wild. The Masai Mara Game Reserve rangers kept a close eye on Amira. Her movements were tracked with a GPS collar, and hidden cameras set up among the acacia trees and tall grass recorded her every move. Amira was not only resilient, but also incredibly intelligent. She chose the most unexpected routes for hunting, bypassing hyena territories and avoiding encounters with other predators. Her loneliness did not break her spirit, and the rangers saw her as a symbol of hope for the reserve. One cool morning, when the sun was just beginning to rise above the horizon, the data from the GPS collar showed unusual activity. Amira, usually active and elusive, stopped in the bush near the Mara River. The rangers, having analyzed the footage from the cameras, noticed that her belly was rounded, and her movements became more cautious. Amira was pregnant. This discovery caused a storm of emotions in the team. The joy that a new life could revive the lion pack was mixed with anxiety. Amira was alone, and she did not have the support that the pack usually provides. Senior Ranger Kamau, a man with many years of experience in the reserve, took charge of monitoring Amira. Together with veterinarian Naila, they developed a remote monitoring plan to avoid disturbing the lioness, but to be prepared for any complications. They installed additional cameras near Amira's favorite resting spots and regularly checked her condition via GPS data. The first 3 months of pregnancy passed relatively calmly. Amira continued to hunt, although her movements became increasingly cautious. But by the 4th month, Kamau noticed a change. The lioness became lethargic, often lying in the shade of acacia trees and not moving for long periods. The cameras showed that her belly was unusually large, much larger than that of other lionesses in similar situations. Kamau, based on his experience, suspected that Amira might be carrying multiple cubs, making her pregnancy especially risky. During the night, when the savannah became cool, Amira's GPS collar gave an alarm. She had remained motionless for more than 20 hours. This was abnormal, even for a resting lioness. Kamau immediately organized reconnaissance, using a drone with a thermal imaging camera. The drone image confirmed the worst fears. Amira was lying in the thick grass by the river, her breathing heavy, her movements weak. She was making soft moans, scratching the ground and curling up into a ball, as if struggling with unbearable pain. Kamau and Neela, taking with them an emergency medical kit, rushed to the place where Amira was. The sky was covered with clouds, and a light rain began to fall, accompanied by distant peals of thunder. When they arrived, the headlights of their jeep illuminated a lioness lying on her side. Her fur was wet from the rain and blood, and her body was shaking with weakness. Next to her lay 2 tiny lion cubs, still wet from birth, but Amira looked exhausted, and blood continued to flow from her body. Neela quickly assessed the situation. After examining Amira, she confirmed that the labor was not yet complete. There was at least 1 more cub left in her womb. But the lioness was too weak to continue. Kamau contacted the reserve base, requesting permission to perform an emergency intervention. After a few tense minutes, permission was granted. Neela, trying not to startle Amira, administered a uterine stimulant, stroking her gently and whispering soothing words. Amira, despite the pain, did not show aggression. It seemed that she understood that people were trying to help her. 15 minutes after the injection, Amira, straining her whole body, gave birth to a 3rd cub. But the birth did not end there. To the surprise of the team, a 4th appeared a few minutes later, and then to everyone's amazement, a 5th cub, tiny, weak, barely moved. Neela, holding back tears, noted that the birth of 5 cubs is a rare event in the history of the reserve. However, the joy was overshadowed by Amira's condition. She had lost a lot of blood. Her head lay limply on the grass, and her breathing was barely noticeable. One of the cubs, the smallest, showed no signs of life. Kamau wasted no time in massaging its tiny body, trying to stimulate its breathing, while Nayla administered resuscitation drugs and hooked Amira up to a drip. A minute seemed like an eternity, but finally the little cub took a weak breath and moved. The team breathed a sigh of relief, but Amira was still in critical condition. Nayla decided that the 2 weakest cubs needed to be taken immediately to the reserve's veterinary center, located 25 kilometers away. Kamau carefully wrapped them in warm blankets soaked in Amira's scent and placed them in a special heated container. The other 3 cubs were carefully placed next to their mother, whose body was slowly beginning to warm up. The rain stopped and the first rays of the morning sun illuminated the savannah, giving the scene hope. Amira let out a weak moan and opened her eyes. She slowly turned her head, as if searching for her cubs, and began to lick one of them lying next to her. Her low, deep growl was full of tenderness. The team, trying not to disturb the moment, quietly retreated, leaving Amira with the 3 cubs. The 2 weak cubs, named Kibo and Asha, were flown to the center by helicopter. There they were placed in incubators, where they received milk replacer and 24-hour care. On the 3rd day, cameras showed Amira standing up and slowly moving around. She growled softly, as if calling for her absent cubs. Kamau, analyzing the data, realized that Amira remembered all 5 of her babies. At the center, Kibo and Asha began to show signs of strength. On the 6th day they opened their eyes and began to respond to sound. Nayla announced that if they could survive a critical 7-day period without illness, their chances of survival would be high. On the 7th day the team decided to return Kibo and Asha to their mother. They were wrapped in blankets with Amira's scent and taken to the same spot by the river. When Amira saw her babies, she slowly approached, sniffed them, and began to lick them, accepting them back. She showed no sign of aggression, and this moment was a true miracle for the team. Kamau and Nayla, standing to the side, watched Amira care for her babies and could not hold back their tears. The story of Amira and her 5 cubs quickly spread around the world. Social media and international conservation organizations began to spread her story. The reserve received grants to expand its protection program, and a reinforced security zone was created around Amira's territory. A German film crew arrived to film a documentary about Amira's feat and the work of the rangers. Scientists confirmed that the birth of 5 cubs is one of the rarest events in the history of lion observations. Amira's cubs grew up healthy. Kibo and Asha, once the weakest, became some of the most active in the pride. All 5 cubs were equipped with dowsing devices to track their health and behavior. Amira, from a solitary lioness, became the founder of a new pack, a symbol of resilience and rebirth. One evening, Kamau stood on a hill, looking down at Amira surrounded by her cubs. A gentle breeze rustled the grass, and the distant roar of one of the cubs echoed across the savannah. Nayla approached him and quietly said, "We have given a future to an entire generation." Kamau smiled, his eyes shining with pride. It was a miracle in the heart of the Masai Mara, starting with one brave lioness. Thank you for listening to this story. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to support our channel, like and subscribe so you don't miss new stories about wildlife.